Championship week is upon us. Only a few more days before the final showdown, before the showdown to see who goes to the Super Bowl. We'll talk about that, our coach watch, and a few other things. You're live on the Terror Dome.
Turn it up, Jado.
And good morning, everybody. It's 10:21 on a Thursday. Terror Dome here for anything that ails you. Well, let's get straight on to it. Championship week is amongst us, and man, it feels very different not being around championship week. It's kind of foreign to us 49er folk. We kind of sitting this one on out and letting the youth, as these two youths would go at it, yeah, Anna. That's a little Joe Pesci there from My Cousin Vinny. Letting these youths go at it. Some old foes, and I ain't gonna say the one that rhymes with foes, but it's some heroes and old foes, I should say, some new heroes and old foes. I'm the Terror Dome. I am here for you and everything that ails you. Let's get right on into it, man. Let's prognosticate. First and foremost, we're looking at the old school battle for NFC East supremacy to go to the Super Bowl. This is kind of familiar ground. We used to have these battles, as I mentioned the last time we spoke Tuesday. It used to be either the 49ers or an NFC East team for much of my adolescent and young adulthood, with the one exception of the 85 Bears. And as I thought about that thing, man, I was thinking it was like from 83 or 84, but it goes all the way back to like 80, because it was the Eagles that lost to the Raiders in that first Super Bowl where the Eagles were first in, and then the next season we went, and then I think it was the Redskins or the Washington football team. They were the Redskins. They went, and then Washington went again, and then we went, and then they had that 1 year with the 85 Bears, and then it was the Giants, and then it was the Washington team again, and then it was us again, and it was us again, and then it just kept being, and then it was the Giants, then Washington, then the Cowboys started with their tear, then it was us again, and the thing went on. I'm serious. I looked at Wikipedia years ago, and it was like, is anybody else in the whole NFL besides us and us in the NFC East? And life was good. Things were all right. People were respecting one another. Healthy respect, healthy competitive, as Jason Captain Niner is on YouTube. If you're on Twitter or on YouTube, if you prefer it on Twitter, just go ahead, drop in, say hi on YouTube, and come back out. Pause if you would, but I know, Jason, it's a bad word, LOL. I'm just so old school with it, and the old school players that I know, they, I hate to sound like I guess it's the equivalent of Archie Bunker. You've got to say Commanders. But the guy that came up with that name, well, he ain't even there no more, so it don't, But not to poo-poo or belabor it, they pulled off a mighty feat, and it surrounds one, if you notice the thumbnail, one Jayden Daniels. You get the guy in the building, you change ownership, you get a head coach that knows what he's doing, and a good GM, and you two can ascend. Now they had pieces around there, and they needed to get things to patch up some holes and negate some what I call challenges or weaknesses in the organization or in the team. And he went out and got veterans to do that, particularly the man in the middle, Bobby Wagner, who we're very, very familiar with. He came up to shore up that middle linebacker that when I used to talk to Ellison, we would talk about the 49ers and Washington as a franchise because, I'm just, that's what we do. We'll sit around and talk football. He would always say, man, I got to get a linebacker. I need a linebacker here. I need a linebacker here. And you went and got a quality one. It might not have been Bobby Wagner at his apex and prime, but still effective in this league and knows what he is doing. Bobby Wagner. Hey, mama chiming in there. Mama. Hey, mama. Good to see you this morning. Just talked to you a little while ago. It is cold out there, mama. We were at 15 degrees last night when I was on with the boys on had a good shout out to my boys, man. David McNiner and Kenny and all of us were on prognosticating the games and stuff. We had a pretty good time, and everybody was talking about it because I think Kenny's down in Florida. You got guys in California and stuff like that, and we're like, hey, it's a cold snap going on. We know about the fires and praying for them out there in southern Los Angeles as well, but all around the country, it's just a cold snap. And the Florida guys complaining, man, it's 45 degrees out there. Lord, what is we gonna do? I was like, it's 15 here without the wind chill. Again, that wind whips up. So hopefully everybody is warm where you are, and hopefully the Santa Ana winds have died down. So the good folks in southern Los Angeles can get better control and get those fires doused. We pray to God that is happening. Jason Captain Niner says, oh yeah, he finished Lioness season 2 last. Lioness is the bomb, right? It is awesome. Taylor Sheridan did an amazing job. That first season was killer, and he upped the ante on that second season and put them in such a precarious position, right, Jason, to have these things go on. And I don't want to spoil it for anybody. If you can watch Taylor Sheridan's Lioness on Paramount, binge it. No, you ain't got to worry about commercials or something like that. I go through Prime to get to Paramount. Excellent. Taylor Sheridan just don't move. He doesn't miss. I'm sorry, he doesn't miss. Taylor Sheridan is just awesome. And getting back to the thick of things, Paramount or Prime, that is correct. Getting back to the thick of things, man. The Washington team has a really, really great opportunity, and they're going to go at it full throttle, and they're going to try to get down with it. Jayden Daniels is playing with house money. It's like a whole bunch of chips that they comp you in Vegas, and they just say, man, just go on out here and gamble. It ain't even your money. You just have the time of your life, and they just letting it all hang out. On the opposite side, you got the fluffy Eagles. My daddy used to say that, fluffy Eagles. We got them fluffy Eagles. man, they've done well with the draft as well. They've gone in the trenches, and they were really, really instrumental. I noticed it 2 years ago, and they were coming off a Super Bowl appearance. They reloaded, reshuffled, restacked, revamped, and they were going after a particular uh, defensive lineman. I noticed they were going after those Georgia Bulldogs. They wanted some championship pedigree. They have pulled it up, and that front seven is looking real good throughout in the trenches on the defensive side of the ball, as well as on the offensive side. They have the best offensive line coach in the National Football League. I am putting it on them right now. Jeff Stoutland. It's either Stoutland or Stoutland. He is absolutely wonderful. I follow him on YouTube on different seminars. Baldinger has had him and talks to him. I just love his mindset. He reminds me of those old school offensive line coaches that I came up with, the great Bob McKittrick and Jim Hanifin and Bill Callahan and those guys who really understand the importance of offensive line, want the best out of their offensive line, try to make it dominant and give you skills to pay the bills. And you can see it in their mannerism, in their pad levels, in their steps. They don't bend at the waist, they drop at the hips, and you want to get a man off of his. It's a lot of leverage, a lot of wrestling. They kind of go hand in hand, almost Roman Greco wrestling when you're sumo wrestling, if you will, in a controlled space. And that's what real offensive linemen do. Very successful offensive linemen do. You first got to just be big enough and tough enough and tall enough, because they, as Jim Harbaugh once said, offensive line is the only group on a football field that is non-dependent on anyone else. Receivers depend on that quarterback to throw them the ball. Running backs depend on the offensive line to open the holes. Pause. The quarterback relies on the protection of the offensive line, but that offensive line is, that last bastion of male toughness that doesn't depend on anything, and it's their job to be that independent force that dictates and dominates. I love that saying, dictate and dominate. That used to be, and I've been seeing a lot of Lester Hayes. I think it was Lester Hayes's birthday. It was on Twitter or something. They've been shouting out Lester Hayes for a guy. Man, the judge was bad, man. His stance, you went out and you tried to imitate his stance a little bit, but you're like, I can't get out of, how does he do this? Is this wide stance, over wide, pass shoulders width apart, and he would bend over and dip, and he would cover you one-on-one. Lester Hayes had some really good years out there with those Raiders. I know most of the 49er fans don't like the Raiders, but hey, man, the Raiders had some ballers, particularly when they went to L.A. and had Bo Jackson and Howie Long and all those guys. Marcus Allen was out there. They won a championship there with Jim Plunkett and Tom Flores as the head coach years ago. Matt Millen was with him too. So getting back to that game, that's going to be a big one. And then over on the other side in the AFC, we saw those two trains coming at each other all year. It was going to be inevitably. I think the third train would have been Lamar, but you kind of, the right was going to be on the wall that it was going to be a Mahomes versus JA at the end of this thing. And it has played out to be exactly that. Now, I gotta say, man, looking at those Buffalo Bills, man, that Joe Brady, their offensive coordinator, schemes it up so well to beat man coverage. I'm gonna play a little film now while I got a captive audience to put it out there in the manosphere. Uh, exactly what they're doing. Somebody on YouTube did they had something great and broken down that you could see why they're beating man coverage. And the reason why it's important, once we went to the Super Bowl, uh, they could see, everybody worth their salt could see that the 49er passing game, and it ain't all on Brock, first and foremost. Oh man, if Brock was better, they would do this. No, that's the easy surface football way of, basically doing nothing. But what it is you've got to scheme people open. And what I mean by that is your passing game has to be dictated so that when you're pressed against man coverage or press, uh, what's called cover one, man under, even cover two, man under, or cone, or whatever would have you, stubby. You've got to make it so that you're running through weaves of people to stay one on one with somebody. It's paramount. It's really, really, really important. And Joe Brady has done a masterful job of beating number one coverage or press coverage. And somebody got to shout the man out. Really, because it is spot on. As someone says, I try to go to it, I gotta sort through all of this. Forgive me. Should have had the vid ready. But we're here for the smoke. We're here for the smoke. Where you at there? Let me go to my playlist. And it is my football theory in there. And then we go all the way down. Palms coverage. I got a lot of stuff in here. Let me get rid of some of this stuff. Man, where's it at? Talk about the 3, 4, 12, 4, 2, 5 runs. This number coming with number 2. When did I put all of this in here? I didn't. Man, I can't find it. Oh, I don't want to spend too much time on it. He just does a really good job of weaving in and out on his pass concepts. There it is. I'm looking all the way back. It's called Funky Formations. And let's put it up. I wish I could have put it up on a telestrator, but we're neither here nor there. Go back here. And let's share a screen. Hope I ain't just jacking somebody's stuff. I don't want them mad at me. Can everybody see that? Here it is. Let's go. It's called Dirty Bunches. That's what it is. Not Funky Bunches, but Dirty Bunches. And as you see, it gives a juxtaposition. They did it so good. This is Thinking Football. One of the sites I check out, Thinking Football, on YouTube. They break down a whole bunch of different stuff. But wide net. And it juxtaposes us. It showed how the Vikings were coming after us. You normally want to have 3 over 2 receivers to one side. And I guess you could utilize him in the flats, but you always want to have a numbers advantage. You always want to have a number advantage. This is a kind of zone-ish. It looks like a zone, but the Vikings are going to jump out and they're going to play, they're going to carry it, or what's called match it. And it made a rough day for Brock, and it looked like, well, Brock holding the ball too long, or whatever, what have you. People go say what they say, but when you look at the all 22s, this thing, it ain't really nowhere to go. You got 3 receivers to one side, and really, well, you got 2 receivers and the third, if you count the running back or fullback, 2 on this side, and you got 3 to cover 2. What they're going to do is man up at the snap of the ball and make life a bit harder for Brock. And even while doing that, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the blitz. He ain't got time to look. They covered up. But if you notice the Bills here, man, they're finding ways. They're finding ways. And how I found this was the fact that we were number 1 in separation with our receivers in the 2023 season. We went from number 1 to number 32, which tells me obviously the league has either the league's done something or our receivers are just awful and pitiful. But that couldn't have been the case, because we started off with BA and had the addition of Pearsall, who is known for just that, and Jawan Jennings. These are quality receivers, especially in 2023 when Brock sets a record at 4,280 yards, which is a franchise record. And now you're telling me, no more Yak. Now you're telling me we can't separate. We need some different receivers. I said, no, something's going on here. Something's going awry. What had to have happened was the league says, when you put them in man, it messes them up real bad. He can tear up a zone, but man coverage gives them trouble. So what Joe Brady does is let you go ahead and run and man up. If you notice, he's manned up on the outside. The number 1 receiver to the outside's manned up. This guy, number 2, is manned up. Number 3 is manned up. They're manned up. So what you do is put 4 receivers to one side so you can get numbers. And with that, you cross them up. You cross them up. You see how they're running through traffic, and everything starts to become a little clear in picks, and all of a sudden you're finding dudes wide open. You just find them wide open. You see how he ran through that traffic and was utilized with a clear here. He's got a clean pocket. He's got a guy wide open over here. You just you scheme it to make them run through stuff. It's like when the criminals being chased on a good cop movie, they in the dark alleys, they throw the trash cans in front of the cop, to mess them up. And you see these crossers up in there? That's what Joe Brady does. And it creates your space. It creates confusion on the defense, and now you got open people. Kyle stays real vanilla in his route running and goes at it, and Brock throws it with incredible timing, but it's nowhere to put it because the spaces that have been vacated, well, when you're running man, you've closed them up. So what you do is just cross them on up. This is against zone right here. They're playing the Rams, and it had various things going on, but everywhere you're going to see crossers and loops just to keep them in confusion. Keep them in confusion down here. And they're going to just run through it. You see how that? I really like that. You see that they're manning up, and these are good defenses. But because you're making them run through so much and quickly, if Josh Allen needed to get it out of his hands quick, he would give it out of his hands so quick you wouldn't see, and you can't get the pass rush can't get to you quick, and he's putting it, installing it quick so you can get it out quick and creating separation through the scheme, because their receivers are not better than our all pro guys. Look at that. That's a scissors concept. And there's another cut. And every time you see something crossing, if you run it, look at all this mumbo jumbo. You see, somebody's gonna get hung up. Somebody gets hung up. And it's just beautiful football. I'm a big proponent of it. Big proponent of it. I really like how he did that. And I'm hoping Kyle will take a couple of nuggets and a couple of little things away from what Joe Brady has done. I think what gets us in a little bit of trouble, and I'm saying us figuratively, is the fact that Kyle will sometimes just be very prideful, and someone could have something very effective, very efficient, but he doesn't want to use it because he didn't think of it. That's foolish pride. And the Bible says pride goeth before the fall. Or it actually says pride goeth before destruction. And you can destroy based on your foolish pride. If a man's got a good idea, it's a good idea, and you can take it, because the NFL is just a copycat league. Everybody's taking from everything. You see a little something. I've heard Tom Brady be interviewed and said, he was talking to Peyton Manning. He said, that little play you do when you pull the guard out and he gets to the outside, and he's like your escort out there. We saw that thing, man. We put that thing in the next week. We run that two times a game. It's the Peyton, man. I think we even call it Peyton. And Bill Belichick said, yeah, we put that in as soon as we saw that. Yeah, we used. Hey, man, use the plays. You don't reinvent the wheel. That's a principle of business. When I worked with Caterpillar, we had to learn what's called Lean Six Sigma, which is a system of Kaizen. Everybody who's driven a car, that car was manufactured and made using a principle called Lean Six Sigma, developed by the Japanese in, I don't know, post World War II, Mr. Toyota, where you get the name Toyota, Lexus. And it's always a system of getting better using the key principles of define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. And one of the key principles is do not reinvent the wheel. If we have something already developed, it's not stealing. It is, if there's a way of cutting paper by several pages, a cutter, use the cutter instead of trying to measure it with a ruler and using scissors. Don't reinvent the wheel here. Just use what is given before you and let's be more efficient. I think this would solve so many of our problems. The problem being our receivers aren't getting separation. Well, if they're not, don't go out and get new receivers. Don't get more receivers. Change the scheme against man coverage because they're man covering you now. That's my main point. And Buffalo does a wonderful job of that. The big elephant in the room is, and we touched on it last night, Darwin's in the mix. Hey, what's up, man? Darwin's here. Choa Lloyd in the building. The big elephant in the room is the help that the Patrick Mahomes boys and Taylor Swifties get by the National Football League referees. And hey, man, they get help. They do. It's some phantom calls. Now, when you get to championship football, it inevitably will get down to not always the plays you make, but the mistakes you don't. That's really, really key. It's not all about the plays you make. It's about the mistakes that you don't. When you can play mistake-free, when you can play penalty-free, when you don't turn that ball over, it can virtually ensure a victory. Every time you look at who wins the turnover battle, plus or minus, that usually dictates your winner, especially when you get into the upper echelons of championship football. I say that because last week Houston didn't have any turnovers, but yet and still they weren't victorious. There's an element that we're missing there, and that is the help out of the reps. Now, maybe people will tell you, don't make excuses for them. Don't blame the refs. Don't, it can't be the officials. You can't say that. You can't, dude. When everybody's noticing, with the advent of instant replay, we know human factor is what it is. It's gonna fudge every now and again, and we're okay with that. But when it keeps happening over and over again, some of the no calls, and it really raises suspicion. And it is with that we come to the Kansas City Chiefs. It starts looking like, well, you know who they want in the Super Bowl. You know who you're going for this big three-peat, and the conspiracies start rolling around in your head, and that's kind of where we're at with it. Hate to say it. Choa Lord's got a question he always does. Terradome, do we got an update on the Robert Saleh yet? Or we have until tomorrow night? Choa, that is an excellent question. From my understanding, Mr. Robert Saleh will have a second, I don't know if this is the second or the third interview with Jacksonville, and he's pretty prominent in the race. When they bring you in there for that second interview, you're kind of looking at him, you're on a short list is what it is. You're on a short list, and they're thinking hard. We do have an update. The former, let me do this right. Hold on, because I am not a fan of this dude. So let me break it down to you. Hold on, let me get it right. Yeah, because and I hate to really rub things in, but I'm gonna on this guy. Let me see here. Sharing it, not him. There we go. You get the full money here. Where's my Where's Adam Schefter reports Trent Baalke has been fired. He's expired. Trent Baalke is no longer the GM in Jacksonville. I am not a fan of this dude. I don't care very much for him at all. He has been a low down, dirty snake in the grass for a long time. That's a little from Which Way Is Up, y'all, and Richard Pryor, folks. Y'all remember that he was the preacher. He played several roles on there, but I'm not a fan of Mr. Baalke. And he got his comeuppance. He's a former San Francisco 49er GM, and he really was a low down, dirty shame. He has people to this day blaming Jim Harbaugh for stuff that just simply wasn't true. Big Jim was there, took us to 3 straight NFC championships and a Super Bowl appearance where we were a pass away or run away from beating the Baltimore Ravens in New Orleans back in 2013, maybe 2012 season, 2013 Super Bowl. And Trent Baalke conspired. Trent Baalke did not like Jim Harbaugh, and Jim Harbaugh did not care for him or Jed York yet. And it's because Jim Harbaugh was all about ball. Some things will lead you to believe, and you can understand that this man ain't about games. This man is about the only thing that matters to some people is ball. They ain't in it for press clippings. They ain't in it to go to these, shindigs, rub elbows with the owner, let you look like you're in charge. It's the reason why Jerry Jones can't get big name quality head coaches to come there. It's not the attractive spot because he's got to be meddlesome and all in the business of the team. And it's fine if you're the owner. I mean, you paid that $6 billion or whatever you did. I think Jerry Jones paid only 100 and some million. Like, I got it like that, but it's your team. You can do what you want to, but things work best if you say, okay, this is my coach. He handles all of that. This is the GM. He handles that. This is Carmen policy. He does this. But what Trent Baalke was good at doing is manipulating the press and put feelers and things out there. And I was witnessing it. It was a high stakes sabotage job. He would leak to the press, oh yeah, Jim's lost the locker room. Oh, Jim Harbaugh, they're never gonna play for him. We don't care if Jim wins the Super Bowl, he's fired. Dude, are you kidding? Are you kidding? And I would hear it at like this is before the internet was real big, so you depend on national news. So what I would do, man, I got 2 TVs beside each other, and I do this with news as well. I'll see something, say at CNN, they report a story. I'll look at the BBC, they report a story. I'll look at Fox News, they report. Everybody reporting the same story, but I'll see how you report it, right? And there should be something different because that's what you call the synoptic in the Bible. You'll see everybody, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, all bore witness, and they tell the story of how they saw Jesus, like witnesses. Everybody's going to see it a little different, or you're going to use some different words or something like that. When I used to look at those pregame shows on Fox, they would say the same thing that the NFL network was saying. And the NFL network was saying the same thing that CBS was saying. That's how you know you got a rat. Because if it came from your different sources, it would be a little bit different, but everybody was using the same verbiage. Added to that fact, when we played, I think we played Detroit at the end of the season. The season where Jim got fired, he went 8-8. When the players scored, they came and brought Jim the football. It was like Joe Staley, the leaders on the team, Joe Staley, and who else did we have? I was like Vernon Davis and all the guys. I saw them, the core guys, still liking Jim. I thought the locker room was frayed and he lost the locker room. No, he didn't. That was that man. That was Trent Baalke. That was him leaking those stories to Deion Sanders, leaking those stories to Boomer Esiason, leaking those stories out to the insider. I think at the time maybe it was a Peter King. Peter King. He was out there leaking those stories, and the chickens have come home to roost. I'm glad you got your comeuppance. I am not a Trent Baalke fan. How does this affect us today? Well, if Jacksonville has fired its general manager, that's who was supposed to hire Robert Saleh. And now we're on a watch to see who the GM is going to be. And it kind of opens it up to a direct line from owner to Robert Saleh. And I think that owner wants Robert Saleh. And it leans even more to the fact that Saleh will probably be the Jacksonville coach, just to me. And it could be different. It could go, maybe they'll do something else, but they're still showing that interest in Robert Saleh. He still got his second or third interview, but now you've eliminated the GM, so the middleman has been eliminated. It kind of lends itself to what Robert Saleh wants to do. So I went all the way around the world to answer your question there. So I hope I did. Well. We're still up and hurry up and wait. Turn on Robert Saleh tomorrow night. We'll know more about tomorrow night. He is set to interview on Saturday. Okay, so we'll know that by then. Jason, thank you for that. Late breaking news development. I got some producers on this bad boy giving me some stuff. Lamar and the Ravens are 6-9, going for 2 on the ground, 5-16 through the air. Naturally, the Ravens passed in both situations. Darwin Levi is my dude, man. He's the ultimate Raven, and he loves ball, man. That is just rough, man. A lot of play calling is sequencing and being able to read the room and knowing what you need to do. That thing has bitten you guys twice that I've seen. You getting into these, last year in the NFC or the conference championship, I felt like you stopped running, and why it's near and dear to my heart is because we did this in the Super Bowl. You start getting pass happy for some reason, and you got Derrick Henry, who ironically is probably gonna be your offensive player, or he was a candidate at least to be your offensive player of the year. I think it'll go to Saquon this time. But last year we had CMC offensive player of the year, and we threw that thing in the Super Bowl like nobody's business. You going 3 and out and 3 and out, 3 and out, and strategic wise, you should have at least as many runs as you have pass attempts. On average, every football game has about 60 to 65 offensive plays. So it's going to break down to the 30 number. There should be 30 passes at least and 30 runs if it's if it's a jive game, you know what I mean? If it's on average, it's not going to always break that way perfect, but you should be getting somewhere towards a running back should have about 20 carries, maybe a couple of runs by your quarterback, maybe a couple runs by the guy who spells them. He's got 4. It should total up some kind of way to 30. And you shouldn't have more pass attempts than you have runs. And when that happens, it not all the time. Some teams are built to just throw that thing all around there, but it's been my odds that you don't hit on 18 in Vegas and you don't throw more than you run in championship football. That's just me, especially when you got good running backs like a CMC, like back in 2019, like a Deebo Samuels or like a Derrick Henry or Lamar on the ground as well. And so I feel your plight, dude. I so feel your plight. 73 old school in the building. What it do, gang, bang, bang, nana gang, what it is, man. What's the word on hiring an OC? We got the OC. He had named Kubiak a little prematurely to name Kubiak the offensive coordinator without interviewing or officially interviewing, which is what you're supposed to do given the Rooney Rule. But Kyle knew he was going to elevate him. Everybody knew he was going to elevate him. But even with that, still, Kyle was real slick. He said it in a press conference about 2 weeks ago, I'd say. And he said, I'm still going to call the plays. Well, it becomes, just ceremonious. Hey, you the OC. Hey, great. Oh, look, I got a title. Ooh, and if you want titles, man, go to the DMV. But he's not officially serving in the capacity of the full weight of what an offensive coordinator does. It's just an offensive coordinator in name only. It's a Okino. I get that from political circles where they will say a guy is a Dino or a guy is a Rhino, Republican in name only or Democrat in name only. Which means he has an R, but he leans left, or he has a D beside the name, but he's leaning right on 80 to 90 of his positions. It's just as far as an offensive coordinator, really truthfully, it's still going to be Kyle. And that's how Kyle do. Scrolling down, Ty Austin in the building with a big Ty. Ty Austin, ladies and gentlemen, Ty Austin. He was on and I got on for a little bit. I forgot what I was doing, but I hollered at you and Jesse last night. You and Jess and Maddie was there, man. Maddie's the dude, man. He's all dude. He's like Johnny Cash. Yeah. Hey, Johnny Cash. Hey, well, go on. Let me tell you about a girl named Sue. Yeah. How am I being heard here? I'm going through the headphones and I can hear I got a new mix board, so it's not peaking out. It's just loud enough. Can everybody hear me? Is it good and clear? I hope so. Who else in here in the chat? What's good? Twin Empire in the mix, ladies and gentlemen. Twin Empire. 26 attempts ain't enough. Yes, sir. I totally agree. They ain't having 26 attempts on running, on rushing. You got big Dirk, and it won't be enough for either of these teams that will be playing, particularly in the for the Eagles as well as Buffalo. Well, no, I can't say that. Buffalo's going with Josh. Buffalo's, I think they'll be pretty even, but Josh Allen is just so incredible, man. He's the new John Elway-ish. That's how we was viewing John Elway back in the 80s. If you want some semblance of what John Elway was, that's a dude who just could do it, man. John Elway, and he was an incredible athlete. John Elway got drafted by the Yankees and told he was supposed to go to Baltimore. He said, "Man, I ain't doing. I'm going to play baseball for the Yankees. Don't draft me." And voila. Turnovers is what doomed Baltimore. It didn't help one bit. Yeah. The turnover battle in high stakes football usually tells the tale. You turn it over. It's things that you gotta do, but boy, it's some things you can't do. And turning it over, that's gonna get you every time. But even with that, you have such an experienced coaching staff as well as a dynamic player like Lamar. They were in that thing till the very end. They still, he by making up a couple of plays here and there, they could mitigate that turnover in the one that Lamar made as a fumble, the one that Mark Andrews made on that skinny post. No, I want a skinny post. It was a cross, kind of a fat post there, and he fumbled it with an excellent punch out job, peanut punch, and Lamar threw a interception early, and turnovers late hurt you even more so. I haven't, and that might be a project of mine. I might look at the history, get some data, and say when in time you get a turnover can hurt more over a period of time. I would need data, break it down, come up with some collective algorithm of if you commit a turnover in the first quarter on the first drive, it is not as bad as the fourth quarter on first down with 5 minutes left. It can't be. It means more. A turnover is a turnover, right? But I do know one thing: points off of turnovers really swing something incredible. But particularly the worst turnover you can have, the worst points against you can possibly have, is if you throw a pick six way down in your territory where you were virtually guaranteed, if you just played your numbers right, a field goal. That is or a scoop and score from a virtual guaranteed 3 points at least. Really, it's 7. If you know you were gonna score, for them to take that possession where you were gonna score and reverse it and go upfield, that is a 14-point swing and virtually unrecoverable. That you cannot throw a pick down in the red zone, and God forbid you throw that pick and it goes the other way for a pick six. That was taking 7 off of your board and giving them 7. and you just will never ever recover. You can't recover. You can't recover. Especially in high stakes, because you're playing a really good team. So you can't even count that. They did it again. Look at the average yards per rush by all three backs for the Ravens. I know it was something. I don't even, man. I ain't even look at it. After they look at, let me go to my box score for Ravens and who did they play? Ravens and Buffalo Bills. Let's go to Yay Espen. Oof. Oof. And what Twin has alluded to, let me take this off the screen. This is what hurts. This is gonna hurt. This is what hurts. This is what hurts. Got it up on the screen there. Look at the average per carry of Derrick Henry, of Justice Hill, of Lamar. 5.3, 8.3, 6.5. You see that, that'll get you. That's what really hurt. Because we was averaging 6.1 in the Super Bowl, and we didn't have, but they get up to 30 carries, but I have to mitigate at least 8 of them, because there you got Lamar running 6 times. I don't know if they were actually scrambles or RPOs where it was designed for him to run, and Andrews twice. But I know definitely this dude need that thing 20 times. You got to get that thing 20 times. And if it's at 5.3, you get 4 more carries. That's 100 yards right there, right? Because 4 more carries at 5.3 a clip, that's over that 20. So it's just, it happens, man. I would have made it absolutely sick. And they did the first time in their first game. I forgot who they played. Was it the Denver Broncos, maybe? Who did y'all play in the wild card weekend there, Levi? Whoever it was, that first one, you guys ran that thing about, I think y'all ran it 50 times, which 40 or 50 times, that's what you want, man. Be very run heavy, especially that's your advantage. That's your advantage. And when you get into playoff football, man, let your advantage hang out. What's my analogy I use? If you're boxing a midget, I ain't sure I'm supposed to say midget, a dwarf or a small person, you want to use your reach advantage and your height. But by not doing what you do to the full extent, it's the equivalent of getting on your knees in boxing Bushwick Bill. Use your advantage. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's kickboxing, right? If you kickboxing a midget, say you Dragonfly Jones, do not get on your knees and box with a midget. Go ahead and kick the midget. His height is the size of your leg. Use your advantage. If you are a running team and you have a back that's 245, a biscuit away from 250, run that big thing until the cows come home, man, until you stop it. And that's just a little tip from your old Uncle Hugh, man. That's just old Uncle Hugh. Derrick Henry only had 16 carries in a snowy game. Yeah, deteriorating stuff. Levi, we talked about it Tuesday, man. This game was designed to be outside. It was made by guys who are coming from World War II in the trenches. get down dudes. It's trench warfare, and it's a snowy time, and they ran the ball. They didn't do this whole aerial assault. Of course, they had leather helmets, no face masks, and probably no teeth, a couple broken noses, but physical nonetheless. Physicality goes away. Yeah, don't try to sell tickets, and it's nice for the novices to see the ball sail through the air. And NFL Films did this wonderful thing of selling the game. The great Steve Sable, and I thank God daily uh, for everything. But I really, really want to thank God for Steve Sable and his dad, man, because they were the first ones really to get in there and uh, make television uh, 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 a bed and breakfast for the NFL, and show you NFL films. And they used to be tight on the spiral. That's everybody's number one thing. It blows. It's like the CGI of selling the game, and they spreaded the game, and the game is really wonderful and exciting. But when we get down to championship ball, we got to think about how this game was created and how this game was made and how it was designed. People like George Halas, people like Fritz Pollard, and Willie Thrower and Red Grange, the college guys and stuff that came over out of college and went to the professional ranks. It was running the rock. It was running the rock. And the deteriorating snowy days of January, and it was made in places like Ohio, Chicago, Canton, Ohio. So it was meant to play in bad weather by men who are tough and rough and will run the rock, but neither here nor there. What's the record of the teams that run the ball over 30 times? That is, I'm gonna leave that up to you. Yeah, just go ahead and check that out. That's some deep research. I don't want y'all checking me out typing, but I bet it's pretty good. We interviewed Klay Kubiak, and college football offensive coordinator. Yes, I saw that on the Twitters. But Klay was his guy, and it's about a foregone conclusion. If he go and get this guy from Notre Dame, no, I'm sorry, I saw a new Bengal defensive coordinator got hired by Notre Dame, but Klay Kubiak is his guy, man. Oh, also in the news too. Let me put this up. The Jets have made a hire. It's not really breaking news, but the Jets have made a hire. Jets hire Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn as their new head coach. Why this is significant? Aaron Glenn then goes by, guess who his defensive coordinator shall be? Steve Wilks, former defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I'm not saying that it's a bad hire, but Steve Wilks did have us going 17 points per game against, and we fired him. No, I ain't taking no blame. I'm doing like Kyle and Jimmy G. They fired him. And we're now and hired a replacement that got fired, and now we're looking and hoping for a new defensive coordinator. But that was the significance behind that. Yeah. Let me see. Buffalo has transitioned their offense to dominate the clock, stay consistent with the run too. Yes, and I love Joe Brady's sequencing. I love Joe Brady's passing to high percentage passes and creating mismatches or creating space with his routing. I'm really, I lean real hard towards Buffalo winning, and I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be rooting for Buffalo. I want Buffalo to win, but man, it is like being up against the State Department or the Supreme Court when it's all stacked against you. You kind of know how these folks are in the National Football League. They want to see Patrick Mahomes in that Super Bowl. You do what you gotta do. It's like I think the referees get a call from Buffalo Wild Wings if it's getting close. Yeah, I remember that commercial on Buffalo Wild Wings. It's the game's looking tight, and they turn the speakers, the sprinklers on. I think a little funny stuff going there. Mostly scrambles. They're kicking it in the chat. Oh, the Bushwick Bill reference. Yeah, if you kickboxing Bushwick Bill, God rest his soul. But you got a height advantage. Use your advantage. Don't get on your knees and boxing. Terradome, we interviewed Clay Kubiak and college. Okay, got that. Noah Pauley was the other guy, the wide receiver coach, Iowa State, Noah Pauley. And he was going to be an offensive coordinator. Is that what we're looking at? Probably. Cynthia's in the building. Hey, Miss Cyn. How is the weather where you are, Miss Cyn? And Steve Wilkes is looking very vindicated. T.A. Terradome. I think he's good. There it is. Yeah, there you go. Okay. TA. I was gonna be like Magnum TA. Papa J, you remember Magnum TA? I don't know where you from, man, but back in the day, we had NWA wrestling, and there was a dude named Magnum TA. Magnum was bad. He had the belly to belly suplex. And he had the big mustache and looking like Magnum PI and the long hair, I was crazy about wrestling way back in the day, man. Terradome, it was Kubiak and Noah Pauley. Those were the two interviewed for our offensive coordinator. Well, they can interview, but Kyle's still gonna call them plays, and Clay Kubiak will probably get it. I know Clay Kubiak, and it'll be offensive coordinator in name only. Kyle is still gonna call them plays. What up, Callie? I think that it is, and Captain Niner Massey hollering at your boy. All right. Another thing I wanted to talk about was my draft. I went through and did a mock draft, and sometimes you just be in the pocket. And I had a mock draft, and we may, let me see how much time I got. I might get a couple of y'all on. We'll do a draft now, but let me reveal this one to you. This is my mock draft, man, and I felt it was just as thorough as addressing needs and good players as I saw fit. I went round one. I went on and picked up Josh Simmons because we need that tackle, and he ranks really, really high. As you notice, the grades on to the side of him. Prince, don't even give me the line. Human Milan, I think it is. He's from Ole Miss. His scores are just off the chain. And I think we're going to get some really good value at defensive end or at edge this year. This kid ranks really, really high. How high does he rank? No, it ain't on this list. But I looked at his numbers on PFF. He's got good size out of Ole Miss. I think he's going about 6'5", maybe 260. somewhere around there, along with the height and weight of Abdul Carter. Mike Green is 6'4". Jack Sawyer, who you saw with the Ohio State Buckeyes, is 6'5", 6'5", 260. He has excellent height and weight. And he was very, very productive this year, and he's a winner as well, national champion. This kid intrigued me too. Dion Walker as a inside defensive presence. Really put up good numbers at the University of Kentucky. And why I like the SEC guys and the Big 12 guys is I often look at who did they face and how did they face it. And PFF gives me numbers on it, which isn't the end all be all, but then I'll go back and look at their film and say, oh, he had a good game against an offensive lineman that really who I think will play on Sunday. So he's played this top-notch competition of a Kevin Banks, a Josh Connerly, a Josh Simmons, a Will Campbell. That's you see what I mean? You want to grab players who played against their opposition, and be it high stakes or whatever, they were in the conference or whatever, and then find that film and look at how they did against that, because that's the caliber of pro, or the caliber of athlete you're going to be facing on Sundays, where you're kind of taking a flyer when you look at the small schools or lesser schools, because they might have dominated high school, they might have dominated semi-pro, they might have dominated even in college. But if it wasn't against top caliber competition, you really can't feel good engaging. It's a shot in the dark either way. But to kind of bring your percentages better, or your odds a little bit better of a kid that's going to make it and a kid that's going to play, you want him to play some stiff competition. That's why I do that. I picked up a little bit of Andrew Mukuba. Andrew Mukuba got a B on that one at safety. We need safety help. We need a true, pure safety. We need a real deal safety. And what I mean by that is we getting a lot of box guys. We need that free safety who can make plays. I looked at his stats at the University of Texas. He ranges out there. He's good size, 6 feet. I think it was 200 pounds, might have been 5'11", 195. But what intrigued me, he had 5 interceptions and a lot of pass breakups. So that lets me know he's ranging. He's a playmaker back there. And the name of the game is takeaways. We did not take away that ball this year. And there was a leak. Now, Malik Mustafa can come up and smack you. Talanoa Hufanga, who we're hoping is going to be back and not a salary cap hit, he can come up and play some box. Even Jair Brown, he is a little bit more physically boxy, more so than a playmaker back there. It was important to get a safety, and I think this guy Andrew will be available in round 3. Now, this took me to Jared Wilson of the University of Georgia. Guys, we got to get another center. I think we'll address it via free agency. I'm really hoping we address it during free agency, and you probably want, at least it's been conventional wisdom, it's been historical that Kyle likes a seasoned guy. Kyle likes a guy that can has had time in the league, and can run his system. The guy, Dahlman's son, it's not Chris Dahlman. I'm forgetting his first name, but he looks like a lead candidate who we might get. But what's wrong with drafting a guy? What's wrong with just have him? You can afford it in the fourth, fifth, sixth round. If he misses, okay, but it is got to be better than Brindle. Brindle just, I'm sorry, man. Brindle just couldn't. He just couldn't cut the mustard. It too many times. I done looked at the film. Matter of fact, I got some film on Brindle. We're gonna look at that Brindle film in a second. John Chapman did a little piece on him. Shout out to John Chapman. Road Rush. What's it called? Road rush trips that we had, man. We ate all the main turkey burgers and had fine beverages. Collie know the deal. Collie, you know how we do. Then I went with a linebacker, Cody Simmons. He had pretty good grades on there. Interesting enough, they gave my center an F, and I think it was an F because of the I took a center that high. They don't value center high in the draft, nor do they value it very much in the San Francisco organization. But he is the key cog in the get down that is the offensive line. You got to have a good center. I know the money is made out there on left tackle. Y'all seen The Blind Side. You know why. Drew. His name's Drew Dahlman. Got you. I remember Chris, his dad, and they're saying wonderful things about it. I haven't looked at the film, but they're saying good things about him. Terradome, there's no running back. There will not be, because you can get a running back from anywhere. Don't leave them running backs alone. This is Terradome, man. This is Terradome talking. We probably will get him. We will probably move up and get one in the first round if I know Kyle, but that's not the play. If you could do it right and address issues, this is the way to go with it. This is really, you just want tackles upon tackle upon tackle. I got another edge guy, David Walker from Central Arkansas. This is my flyer. Major productivity at Central Arkansas. I think that's where Scottie Pippen went. If y'all are fans, maybe you could tell me, twin. Was it Central Arkansas where Scottie Pippen went? But man, he had a ton of productivity. I think the guy had a double-digit sacks. I look for only guys who have double-digit sacks. I don't want to get a guy with a single-digit sack and hope and say maybe he'll get better. No, I need you to have the taste of double-digit sacks before you come in this building in San Francisco. Then we went with a tight end, Jalen Connors, very late in the draft. And then I had Anthony Belton. He's over here at NC State. Really, really good grades at NC State. And this I think I cut my thingy off. Pause. Because I had some more after Anthony. No, Anthony Belton was my last pick from the North Carolina State Wolfpack. He's a monster as well. Big guy. I went heavy on tackle. I didn't go with a guard because you can find guard. You can take a tackle and make him a guard. And that's kind of what we do. If you know the difference between a tackle and a guard in the Kyle Shanahan system, an inch on your sleeve. If your arms are shorter, they say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna make him a guard." You don't even know what this man can do at tackle. He ain't look at his feet and how he covers space. I said, no, man. His arms got to be at least 33 inches. If it ain't 33 inches, this 1 inch is going to make the difference. But you can find them. You can find a whole bunch of guards just based on that analogy. Undersized, shorter tackle can fit right in here and be a guard. We can throw it, kick him in and be a guard, kick him in and be a guard. What you can't find is tackles because they say they got to have at least 33-inch arms. He got to be able to move and block in space. And he got to have these special set of skills. But meanwhile, I'm looking at some mediocre stuff. I'm not a big Finding Forrester fan at all because they just talk up mediocrity while you look and see, people just getting stuck. Let me take this on off. Hey, go back. Remove that. All right, this is what I wanted to do. Let's look at a little film. And this was the guard that they were telling me, or the center that they're trying to tell me isn't that good. Notice how he punches and goes to the next guy. He's at the University of Georgia. Guard size 6'3", going about 305, number 55. You see how he can, you're not going to confuse him a little bit with the stunt. He will come off of one and get to the other one really, really quick. He gets his hands back up after you snap that ball. Good leverage. Notice how he gets to the guy. He gets to the outside, the apex defender. And a lot of people just overrun this. And we do it. He overran it a little bit, but had the presence of mind to come back and get it. See, he's overrun, but he says, hold on, let me wall you off and then take that for your pleasure there. I need nasty. I like nasty. I want you blocking through the echoes of the whistle. I want to see you pancake somebody. Once the whistle stops and you can't hear the whistle again, I want the echo of the whistle to go down before you stop the block. That really frustrates a defensive man. You say he sticks to him, he's sticking to him. Good and low, look at his pad level. He goes out and finds work. That's a real man there. I like this. He puts hands on the interior at the one technique, zero technique. And then when they try to run a stunt, he'll jump off and find who he needs to find. They're trying to blitz right there. You're not fooling that guy. You're not crossing his face. Good leverage, and he's sticky. He's sticky. Look at that. See, sticky. He's sticky. That's what Brock needs. That's what any quarterback needs. This notion of you can do it all by yourself and you better get that center guard right. That thing is look good to me. They can call it F all they want, but that looked good to me. Knows his assignment. Look, don't come up in here. It's Georgia. I will protect you, Mr. Beck. Don't worry about it. Look at that guy. Look, he's stymied at the scrimmage, at the line of scrimmage. Stymied. And that's against my man at University of Kentucky that I just ran past. It's a big guy. That guy's going to play on Sunday. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I like. So I just wanted to show you the comings up of one Mr. Jared Wilson. Jared Wilson, University of Georgia center. Because we're 2 years behind. We should have got a center probably. Now we should have got a tackle in the year we only had 2 or 3. No, we had 3 third-round picks. We should have got a tackle then, and maybe another and a center then, and then we'd be in a lot better shape. I think, but what do I know? Let's go ahead and get a Cameron Latu and a Jake Moody. Anyway, I wanted to show you. I wanted to juxtapose that with this. Let me go to the map right quick. Share my screen. Video file. These are some cut-ups of Mr. Brindle this year.
First and foremost, which you can debate whether or not they've done that well. And then defense.
All right, this is him versus Minnesota. He says he's looking for work or lack thereof and not finding any. And then the guy just goes right by him. This is real quick. I wish I could slow it down a little bit. See, the pocket's muddy. And look at his position. Look at where he's at. He's looking at Brock. What are you turning around looking at Brock for? It's already hard that you see when you see Trent Williams getting the bull rush and stepping on Brock's foot, and then and this guy has got his hand up. Brock ain't number 6'1". Brock got to get the ball up over this dude, and got Pooney's doing what he can. And you looking with the please go away. I hope you don't get hurt, dude. Come on, man. Come on, get busy. Get busy. Look at this. Just gets tossed aside. Look at him down on the ground. Just no, man. I can't have this. You putting out bad poop, bad film, and defenders see this. Defenders see how you getting tossed, and they looking at you like barbecue chicken, as Shaquille O'Neal would say. And look at Banks. That ain't much better. Banks just gave a half butt thing here. Just gets pushed aside. What we got? Okay, this is the stretch. This is our outside zone. And he doesn't stick. They're getting off of it and going to making the tackle. That's your dude, and you turn around looking. You see, he just threw him aside. I don't know if he's lighting the loafers. Was he trying to get to the second level? If he was trying to get to the second level, look. That's John Chapman down there telling you, hey, man, it's a problem here. See, he's turning around and he's turning around and looking. What are you doing? Get out on the screen. Shuffle your feet. Guess who man that was? Carly says you like Deion Walker. He looked very, very productive. I like Deion Walker too. I think that'll be a steal later on, and it looks like he's projected to be later on now. What could happen, Carly, is that's just some of the exploits of Brindle. Why I just had to go and just get a center. But what could happen, Carly, is this is all pre-combine, pre-Senior Bowl stuff. That's why I made sure I mark it as January 22nd. Because once we go to a Senior Bowl, or once more, even so, we go to the combine, these scores will shoot up and some of these guys won't be available. But for right now, it looks like we can get some steals here in the latter rounds. I was more emphasizing right in the pocket of 3 and 5. Everybody kind of looks at the, oh, we're gonna get that first round pick. We picking number 11. Yay, number 11. Number 11 is gonna be a good pick. That's right where you need to be. The pressure will be off of having to make the decision of do we get a quarterback? when you're up in there 1, 2, and 3, you got the pressure of really best player available or reaching on a quarterback, and that pressure will be off because regardless of what they say, it's only really a 2-man race in terms of quarterback this year, but they inevitably will reach. Teams always are in the market for a quarterback, even if they sign a big name free agent. I've seen them do it like that. Case in point was Atlanta last year. You signed Kirk Cousins to, I think Kirk was Kirk get his paper, $120 million contract, and then they go out and get Penix as well. So they're going to reach and just grab quarterbacks, and that'll happen this year too. But at 11, you're not pressured to do that, and we really wouldn't be pressured either way because we got Brock. But people reach on those quarterbacks, man. But yeah, I like Deion. I like that production he's given, and for him to be ranked so low on the mock draft for, I think this one was PFF. I either do PFF or PFN. You got to take your shot. Who do you like at offensive tackle, Terradome? All right. Let's share another screen. That's a great question from Young Anshul of 49ers Media. That's how they used to say it on Young Anshul writes to us, who do you like? I'm looking at, this was a PFF grades, and these are the guys in gold are really who I think can make some hay. Who I think Kyle would like, who historically we went after, and I look at their sacks allowed, how many snaps they played in 23, how many snaps in 24, how many hurries they allowed, how many hits they allowed, and I threw it all in the hopper, given their heights and weights and schools and rank of opponents that they faced, and weighed that as well. Like if you're in a good conference that, say, Texas, there are going to be 1, 2, 3 or 4 different blue chip games that Texas played this year. So you got a chance to see some film with Kevin Banks against some guys who are going to play on Sunday, And with that said, these are my top ones. I like Wyatt Millum, West Virginia, Chase Lunt of UConn, Kevin Banks, Texas, Josh Connerly of Oregon, Josh Simmons, the Ohio State University, and Will Campbell, Louisiana State University. They're tall. Now, mind you, they haven't measured those arms yet, because they'll kick it. I'm telling you, man, I think it's the dumbest thing in the world. 1 inch short on that arms, and they just think, oh my God, no, he could never do anything. But I look at these guys' feet, and I look at just how you did it in college. A lot of them have played left tackle, and PFF breaks you down on how much you played at right tackle as well. And even if you played some guard, they will show how many snaps you played at said position. And for guys, man, to go a whole year with just 1 sack, or a whole year with 2 sacks, or 0 sacks allowed, Wyatt Millum dude, are you kidding me? 0 sacks, 0 hits, and only 6 times did I allow a hurry. Josh Simmons allowed 1 sack, no hits, no hurries in 1,100. Now Josh did get hurt. He did get hurt, and I think it's an ACL. So that's why I kind of weighed him down, because you don't want to draft a problem. But look at Josh Carnley over there. Josh Carnley just been balling, man. He just been getting it in. 929 snaps, only 1 sack allowed, 2 hits, 6 hurries. Those are just astronomical numbers to me. And it forced me to just go back, look at them, rank them for what I like, Oh, yes, I like Jonah Savigny. Did I say that? I think it's Savigny. Yes, he's from the University of Arizona. That was the first one I watched. Matter of fact, I need to add my list up here. I think he's on my other list. I work on one at work as well as one home. This is my home list. I did the same thing with edge rushers. These are the guys that jumped out to me. And the guys down in gray, they didn't have double-digit sacks, but they got such nice size at 285 pounds. What I noticed with Lloyd, what's his name? Floyd, was the fact that he, in run downs, he could get tossed around a little bit. He was a little light. So you want that edge to be a little bit, you want it to be thicker. You want him to be, you want him to be heavier, because they're going to come at you and it could be a detriment. And we gave up a lot of runs on a soft edge, with that pin and pull. And if you throw a fullback out there, or they got some pretty hefty tight ends that can be physical with you. You want them to be at least 250 pounds. I'm looking for 250. Mike Green is a couple biscuits away, but he played at Marshall. But he's got great 17 sacks, 10 hits, 34 hurries, and a ball batted down. I want some balls batted down. Maybe that's a piece of a pause. Jack Sawyer, Ohio State University. We got a chance to watch him in the semifinals as well as the finals. He's active. He's going to shoot up the board. I know he is, after he has a good combine. I haven't watched it yet, but this guy Donovan Ezeudu, that looks very, very intriguing to me. 14 sacks, 20 hits, 27 hurries, and no balls batted down. I got to see why he doesn't, you ain't got no balls batted down, man. You got a big 0. What happened? You can bat down 1 if you can put your arm up or something. But here's the rub here. He's only 6'2", 247. He should be at least 6'3". I mean, tell you something about college. Everybody gets cheated an inch. They give you an inch just looking at you when you come to college. They put that extra inch on there. I was 6'1" for decades. They give you an inch in high school. And so if they only listed him at 6'2", he's probably closer to 6'1", which, hey, it doesn't really matter much to me. A guy, whether he's 6'1" or 6'2", is clearly adequate. We done seen and had exceptions with guys who can play at 6'1", 6 feet, but that just goes to show that he doesn't have any balls batted down because he's probably a little shorter, or he would have to jump up and punks jump up to get beat down. David Corona in the building, ladies and gentlemen. David Corona. We was on last night. Good to see you, Dave. What else I got? Yeah, that would be about it. Gold helmets possibles. Gold helmets, golden domers, golden helmets. I'd like to buy a vowel. Same to you, brother. Yeah, that's my man, Dave. Big Dave. So that be the show for today. It is noon Eastern. I gotta get me a little something to eat, perhaps a lovely soup and sandwich. 31 degrees here in North Carolina. And where you are, drop in the chat and tell me the degrees and where you are. 49ers label some draft for the Golden Domers. Yeah, Golden Helmet guys. Yeah. Some guys are like that. And what the 49ers do is, you're gonna know they will interview people. You're gonna hear names of different folks that they are interviewing. And they stick to that as well. You'll know who they're gonna get because they will bring you in and talk to you, you know. Not all the time, but you'll get some indication. And y'all saw my man John Chapman, who gave me that Brendel reel. He does a really comprehensive job of looking at who he likes, putting it on a spreadsheet, and he has like the alternate universe of likelihood of us going after what Kyle like. This is kind of a personal list for me as I see it, as for my matrix. And but you got to have those two trains of thoughts. What would Kyle do, just based on the type of guys that we bring in? And I've noticed a push towards the seasoned guys who have played a lot of downs, who are probably mature. We're looking more for a junior who probably started halfway through his freshman year and has 2 or 3 years under his belt. Somebody healthy, somebody adequate with the right size and dimensions, and they put a premium on that. I put a premium on the size as well as the big for me is the productivity you have shown me in college, particularly that of an edge rusher or a linebacker. You should be in triple digits, dude, in tackles. Triple digits. Got to be in triple digits, man. Triple digits in tackles. That shows me you were getting down. It can get a little tricky with interior defensive linemen because their primary focus may not have been coming up with all of those sacks. They're not going to have a lot of sacks. But what you have to do then is your due diligence and look at the scheme that they were playing. Were they in a 3-4? Were they in a 4-3? And how productive were those linebackers behind them? Because I really want to get a big, oversized guy like Dion. What was his name? Dion something that I had drafted in the mock draft. Dion Walker. He didn't have but like 8 sacks, which is still good. I look more at his tackles for losses and how good were the linebackers behind him, because he was sucking up, a lot of the interference of the guard tackle, in particular if he was a one technique guy, meaning he's going to be on the outside shade or inside shade. He's going to be 2-eye inside shade of the guard. Does he demand a double team? Indicators of that would be how great his linebackers were, and if they were really, really productive. Because if you're sucking up a guard and center, then that Mike should be roaming like a gladiator. But if linebackers all with puny, putrid numbers, that's telling me, maybe, you was out here just letting them go by. And I personally played linebacker. I know if he's not worth his salt and he's what I call cowboying it, letting the Olay, the Matador, letting that guy go by so he can get the grits and gravy and all of the glory. I'm back there dealing with Java the Hutt and getting rocked. So Terradon about to make that grilled cheese. Hey, man, that is my go-to. Grilled cheese and some tater tots, like Napoleon Dynamite. Hey, Napoleon, give me some of your tots. No. I thought I saw Miss Violet. Hey, Miss Violet. What up, faithful? Good to see you this morning. Well, it's afternoon now, Lord Jesus. All right. Yeah, I got to do some grilled cheese and taters. You done gave me my meal. Thanks, man. Kylie always looking out. Okay, never mind. Then we good. Ansel says that. I'm gonna do grilled cheese taters. 6'3", 240, and really raw. He's described. That's a linebacker there. I know 6'3", 240, maybe a fullback. What's good, Callie? Holland in the building. Jason, we already tried that with drop two. I'm good. Cameron drop two. I got a tight end, Jalen Conyers. I got him in the 5th. We'll see how he shakes out. He showed me some productivity. He's got a Yaka touchdowns. And Texas Tech throws that ball all the way around. So if I can remember correctly, Jalen Conyers, his blocking wasn't that great, or the grade that they were giving for blocking, but he had a lot of touchdowns, I think, and a lot of yardage. They used him a lot. They had some targets on him. I got to go back and look at that, but you do need blocking, but we just we haven't yet, but it's some things that I hope, you got hope and wish, as Cedric the Entertainer would say. You hope that Kyle will lean to go into a 2 tight end set and really taking advantage of Kittle and another decent tight end. And I think we've been going after the wrong template. We've been going after our Kittle. We're trying to find the next Kittle. You're not going to find the next Kittle. You know who we need to find? This is where you need to go back old school. Find the next Delaney Walker. That's what you need to be doing. A guy, he's a bit of a tweener. He's not 6'5". He's probably more like 6'2", 6'3". But the SOB could play fullback. He can plug him in. He probably can return some punts. And you can put him in at tight end and run a 2 tight end set and be, not miss a beat. While Kittle may be in, he can go ahead and release and get into the pattern. While Kittle may be in the pattern, he can stay in and block and be a escort on some hinge blocking or scat protection, where you would hinge to one side and he would come back with that slice play and bust it open from the backside on there. That's my take on it. Let's just find the next Delaney Walker. Todd Christensen. It used to be a cat named Todd Christensen. He wore 46 as well for the Oakland Raiders. Who did the Redskins have back in the day? It wasn't Clint Didier. Who was it? It was a second tight end. Was it Clint Didier? No. Ellison ain't here. I can't remember the guy, but that's who I think you can find those guys, but Kyle ain't looking for him. But we need to find that guy. Tater tots are superior to the superior potato side. Yes, I like tots, especially in the air fryer. Grilled cheese with jalapenos are goated. That could work. I do it with some Havarti, and I might cut up some tomatoes. Havarti cheese, tomatoes. If you really want to set it off, put a little honey in there. Yeah. We're gonna do something. I think that's Dexter down there barking. Can y'all hear him? Dex! Sorry, y'all. Well, it's my time to go. Well, I enjoyed it, Golden Domers. Thank y'all so much for coming out. Loved y'all in the chat. Thank y'all for hearing my therapy session on how I would solve problems if the world were mine. But in any event, I will be talking to you very soon. We'll chop it up again Tuesday. And we'll have the Super Bowl set. Put your money on Sonny. No, I'm just it's just joking. We'll be chopping up, and if it's some late breaking news developments, like we officially hire a new DC, I may jump on and do an impromptu, or I don't know if Robert Saleh goes to Jacksonville. It's no need really doing a show. It's just the leader in the clubhouse right now for the job obviously is Robert Saleh as a defensive coordinator. But like I said, he's spinning the block, and he's made it very, very clear to Kyle that he really wants to be a head coach, and he's going to take his time. So if the head coach does not materialize, we're looking at what we're looking at, and I'm thinking it's probably Staley. Probably. Papa J said it is 40 degrees and sunny here in Eureka, California. Amen. We got David Corona. He's in California, 72%. I think that's 72 degrees, but we're going to work it like that. 51 here in Cali. Y'all got some good temperatures. We at 31, and that's going to be the high. So I'm gonna go out there for a minute and really enjoy it. Tell Ellison I'm pulling for his. I am too. I'm pulling for the Washington Commanders to pull off the upset. The Eagles are favored by 6. Eagles favored by 6. Over under is 41, I believe. I don't have the line right in front of me. And I'm pulling for them Bills too, man, because I don't want these mugs to get 3-peat, but you just kind of know that that's and it ain't how they selling it on the Chris Collins. You just gotta believe that Patrick Mahomes, man. Patrick Mahomes. It's not gonna be on NBC, is it? Because I can't stand Chris Collinsworth for that Adam's apple talking about how great Patrick Mahomes is. I just think for one time, you got to know Patrick Mahomes is going to bring it on in. Everybody in the stadium knows that Patrick Mahomes is the guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm like, oh, goodness, Jesus. What can you say? I mean, Patrick Mahomes, man, nobody has ever done it in the history of football. My God, Patrick Mahomes. Did I mention Patrick Mahomes? He was just on that commercial. Yeah. I bet I'm getting some laughs, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Patrick Mahomes. So, with that in mind, everyone, thank you all for coming out. God bless y'all, man. Remember, we walk by faith and not by sight. In Jesus' name, amen. I'll see y'all soon.